Good afternoon, everybody. Trying to gather up some of the thoughts today. Why did I say good afternoon? It's almost evening. But anyway, here I am. To start off, I want to say, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. Second Timothy 1:7. A sound mind in the States is being celebrated all over the place. May, the Mental Health Month, and I've been teaching the students several topics on mental health this month. And then I just read something. Some lady from Oregon. She believes she's a turtle. Okay, and that made me think a little. So I've been recovering from a flu. It's been rainy here, which is a good thing. It's the beginning of our winter. I've been thinking. I took uh, yesterday and today days for me to rest, which I'm very grateful that I have these days to rest. I've been teaching a lot, and it's a privilege. I really love doing these things, but then I get to rest in my own little place, my own little area, right? And then I've read about this lady in Oregon that she believes she is a turtle. And the verse says, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. This is in Second Timothy 1:7. For me to have a sound mind, I gotta be having, um, I gotta be feeding my mind. So I've been reading books, which I love doing this. They're all Portuguese pretty much. And this is one by, John Adair, to be a boss or to lead. I've got some amazing ideas for lessons, and I've taught some lessons, off of this book. Another one that came back to the table recently was the Barbara O'Neill, Designed to Self Heal Yourself. I recommend Barbara O'Neill. She's the Australian lady that talks about health in the old fashioned way. You know, it talks about the role of the microorganisms, for our health and designed to for self healing. Barbara O'Neill. I got it in Portuguese, pretty good. And then I also am trying to educate myself, and recently I took some classes on the subjunctive in the Portuguese language, but also subjunctive in the English language to pair up. Whenever the issues come up, I'm able to tell my students, how the subjunctive and its tenses work in each language. Portuguese is a little more difficult. I've seen it, especially under conjugation. But this book it is named "The Language We Speak" by Luis Antonio da Silva. So I have one by Barbara O'Neill, Designed to Self Heal. I have the Leadership book by John Adair, and I have this language book by Luis Antonio da Silva, which I'm really appreciating. Right here in the middle, I'm already taking several notes. And it's talking about Galego, which is a language in this nearby country, to Portugal, which I'm fascinated. Sounds like Portuguese, so good. But also, I got this guy here to help me on my searches, the Oxford Advanced, Learner's Dictionary. I got this years ago by an ex-student she gave me as a gift, in which she lives in Portugal. I'm talking about Galego, the language of the nearby country, and I have this amazing dictionary, which my friend that lives in Portugal, she gave it to me. And also, every day, I read a little bit of the Holy Scriptures. This is the Andrews, Bible. In Portuguese we use the Ferreira de Almeida. In English, the Andrews Bible use the King James Version. And here in Brazil, we have this devotional meditation for Sabbath school. So every day there's one. And we're reading about allusions, images, and symbols, which has been deep studies. The depth, into it is very meaningful. So I read them both, one with the other. This video is getting a little longer and talking about mental health because I'm not making fun of the lady in Oregon, but I don't want to ever tell friends that I am a turtle. But I'm excited about cartoons and some movies that are coming out. And for the longest time, I've been a fan of The Sword and the Stone, that Disney classic about King Arthur's. Probably you guys know the cartoon. You have seen it. Archimedes, the little owl that is supposed to be his conscience, but he's always picking on him. But I love the idea of King Arthur as a clumsy little boy and very skinny, scrawny, helpless, and we know what happens to him. So this thing comes to my mind, and the whole movie there are precious lessons about humility and how to listen, to wisdom that comes from Merlin, the wizard. And lately, there's a lot of talk about this guy over here, He-Man. The movie's coming out next month, which I'm really excited because I love, the franchise and Masters of the Universe, so the movie's coming out. And I do like this a lot, and I like this a lot. But think about a mixture. The Sword and the Stone and He-Man together. How cool that would be, huh? Don't you think? So of course this is not real. It's just funny idea somebody had, and I loved it. So I try to keep myself sane, sound, because I know the Lord has not given me a spirit of fear, but a spirit of love, and a sound mind. I apologize. I'm recovering from the flu, and reading good books and reading the scriptures and talking to friends about how I feel, and really enjoying some time for yourself because I had 2 days off and this video is getting so long, my goodness. If you watch it, I hope you have a lot of patience. And these are my ideas for, Sunday, the 25th of May, which is also the Rural Worker Day in Brazil. Those people that work producing food, producing produce, to Brazil. So I celebrate them too, and that's it. Hope to see you guys very soon. If you like listening to this kind of content, if you are learning English, and if somehow this video helped you, give it the thumbs up. So you guys have a great day from a raining, lazy Sunday in the outback in the northeast of Brazil. God bless you. See you later. Bye bye.